right, Chair, we are now live.
Good morning. I'm Vice Mayor Shanika Smith, the Chair of Boards and Commissions Committee, and I would like to welcome you all to the November 9th remote meeting. All council committee members and staff are participating virtually. To help our audience follow along, I'll state each section of the agenda aloud. We are streaming live on our virtual engagement hub, which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website. We also have an option for the public to listen live by phone. For those who are out there with us today, welcome. For today's meeting, we have the option for people to call in and comment live during the meeting. To call in and comment live, use the same number, 855-925-2801, meeting code 9478. Your phone will be muted and you will hear the meeting live. At this point, speakers will need to push *3 to enter the speaker queue. I will now go through and introduce all the committee members and staff who are participating virtually. Just give a quick hello or good morning. Councilwoman Antoinette Mosley.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Kim Roney.
Good morning.
Deputy City Clerk Sarah Gross.
Good morning.
Assistant Clerk Jerry Goldberg. Is Jerry with us today?
She's with us today.
Okay. Now we'll start the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve October minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, I'll do a roll call vote for approval. Councilwoman Mosley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney.
Aye.
Myself, aye. The minutes have been approved. Are there any, Sarah, anybody in the speaker queue for public comment?
We have no callers on the line.
Okay, we'll move on to new business, our November appointments. We have 3 separate committees or boards to appoint today. Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, we have 2 vacancies. We got a lot of wonderful applicants, a lot of people well-versed in the alcohol and beverage industry. But the board chair recommends the reappointment of Max Hayner and Nian Avery. Any comments or recommendations from the committee?
This is Kim. So we also have that recommendation, same recommendation from the liaison, our colleague, Councilwoman Whistler. So I move to accept the recommendation of the chair for the reappointment of Max Hayner and Nian Avery.
Is there a second?
I would appreciate a little more discussion if possible. Are y'all amenable to that?
Yeah, so I think the recommendation, the push for accepting this recommendation is that the board is so small and has lost so many people over time that continuity is very important. So with, I think, 2 new members being just appointed and 1 being Mr. Nian Avery, that continuity is very important just because of the business matter of the board. So based on that recommendation from both the board and the staff liaison, we'll follow through with that recommendation unless there is another motion.
I am hoping we can consider the application of Mr. Gene Bell too. My understanding is that he submitted his application slightly late for the previous time.
Mm-hmm.
He is a board in the community, and I would just like further discussion from each of you. But of course, if there's a motion and a second, I'm happy to move forward.
Okay. Is there a motion?
My motion is still on the table, but I think that one of the things that we might want to look at is when the next opening is going to be available. I was just looking to double check. Sarah, do you have that handy?
I don't think it's until next year, later into next year, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe that is the board chair, Jan Davis.
Yes, next November of 2022, the chair, Jan Davis, who would not be eligible for reappointment at that time.
Since there is a motion and a second, I think we should proceed with the vote. That's fine.
All right, I'll do a roll call vote for approval. Councilwoman Mosley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney,
Aye.
and myself, aye, for the reappointment of both Max Hayner and Ian Avery. We'll move on to the next. This is Board of Adjustment. This is one vacancy for the alternate seat. And let me go to, there is no recommendation received from the board nor the council liaison. Any comments from the committee or a motion from the
This
committee?
is Kim. I'm just glad that we have some options to choose from here. And I just want to thank everyone who applied for this alternate seat, because we don't always get application for this board. Sometimes it's hard to come by. So I did see that we have an applicant from outside of the city limits. So once again, we have a situation where folks are willing to participate that may be affected by the decisions made by this board, but don't live within the city limits. So those are just the things that I noticed.
Any other comments or motion?
I am prepared to move to recommend to council the appointment of Andrew Garrard for the alternate seat for the Board of Adjustment.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, with a motion and second, roll call vote for approval. Councilwoman Mosley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney,
Aye.
and myself, aye, for the appointment of Andrew Garrard for the Board of Adjustment alternate seat. We're moving on to Homeless Initiative Advisory Committee. Sarah, can I get a little information? Because they made a comment. They sent a comment to us. It reads that no new additional appointments be made by council at this time. I don't quite understand that. It seems like we've been getting that a lot lately. At least our last meeting, they're recommending that council not appoint anybody for whatever reason. I need to know the reason and if the reason is solid.
And it's my understanding from the staff liaison that the committee and staff are looking at their bylaws, but two, the structure and the seats of the committee. So as they're evaluating and looking at what that could be, they want to take a pause on the appointments at this time.
And as a liaison, I can add that there are some specific seats that have to be filled on the Homeless Initiative Advisory Committee. And as we're making these shifts, we don't want to miss meeting our requirements. So that's my understanding for the ask for a pause. We also have an issue of vacancy for one of the city appointed representatives that hasn't had any attendance since their recent reappointment. So in this window of evaluation, I think we may see 2 openings. But I would recommend the reappointment of Joelle Steininger.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is second. Internet for approval.
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney
Aye.
and myself, aye. I think that's all for our November appointments.
And I just want to confirm, we're making that one reappointment and keeping that second seat open.
Okay. Under informal discussion, we have an update from our intern equity and inclusion director, Brenda Mills. I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. I am happy to say that I have been offered the full-time position as director.
And I was like, should I say it?
No, it was a good
I
drum
wanted to
roll.
say it, but should I say it?
It was a good drum roll. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I heard that I had lots of support, so I want to thank all 3 of you ladies. And Sarah, of course, is my ride or die. But I want to thank all 3 of you. We got a lot of good work that we need to do. It's not going to be easy. But when we do it together, it takes a village. And sometimes it takes the other village. So we're really excited about it. So I'm really, Deborah Clark-Jones of Tequity LLC is very apologetic. She started her new role 2 weeks ago. And as you can imagine, she is deep into onboarding at Duke University. But we're excited about some of the results that we got back from the survey.
We see you, but you're muted.
I lost my, huh?
I think we lost power at City Hall.
Oh dear. Everybody went out. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna try this again.
Brenda, while you're opening that up, though, I want to make sure we didn't lose connection with the live stream and this back end side.
Okay,
so
I'll hold
be
on.
right back.
I'll hold on. Looks like we're good. Technology.
All right, I'm confirming we're still live and rolling.
Looks like it. Okay, we're gonna give it a shot. Here we go. Now, just a reminder, I cannot see your head shake or whatever. I just can hear you. So if you would make sure you verbalize anything that I need to stop at, that would be great. So we're going to give just a general update about the responses we got back from the survey for the Community Reparations Commission nomination and application process. Generally, outside of, folks that we heard that were against reparations, the comments were very positive and very constructive. So we're going to look at a few of the concerns. That information is disseminated broadly, and we have really been working since we put the survey out to make sure we're communicating with the historically impacted neighborhoods, looking at ways in which we can get information out, not just electronically, but also can we use neighborhoods to do that? Can we pin ourselves onto events and other things where we might be able to get information out about reparations? They looked at the makeup of the commission. We talked with our city manager, Deborah Campbell, last evening about the change in the number, and she will be updating council on that. We're looking at responding to that and just making sure that you guys are good with that, because I thought that was, we didn't see that being a thing that we couldn't do. So we're looking at increasing, definitely increasing the neighborhood number and reducing the impact area experts. Now, one of the things our city manager really focuses on, and we do too, is that we want to make sure we do have expert folks in those areas of economic development, education, housing, criminal justice, and healthcare. And they want to make sure all Black voices are heard. That is something I go home every night and think about. And so I have some ideas. I don't know that any community can say that they've heard everybody, but we will make sure that they've heard about us, and that they definitely, if they don't have the opportunity through technology or other ways, that we can get them through our community associations or other groups in the community to make sure that they have their voice heard. So we're very sensitive to that. They want to, so they're talking about broad distribution of the application and the nomination forms. I can be about 85% sure that most people know we're doing reparations, but we want to continue to simplify the information that we put out there for folks so that they understand exactly what the process is, where they can get applications. Applications will both be electronic and paper versions. We're definitely looking at those with challenges. So we ask about that in the application: technology, childcare, transportation, and they're definitely, they mentioned having compensation for the commission members, and there is compensation for commission members. We talked about that about a month ago. So we want to simplify some of the language. Tequity has worked on that to make sure that the language is not overly daunting for people, that they can really understand what we're asking for. And we'll make sure that on everything that they receive, there's a contact information so they can call in case they have additional questions. Another thing was consider support services for commission members, and we will do that. Focus area experts should be required to have a commitment to reparations. If you remember the update from Deborah Clark-Jones of Tequity, she mentioned that we do ask about cultural competency training. Why would you want to be a part of this? What are your reasonings? What do you bring to the table? Those types of things. But we also don't want to defer other voices. So that way we have a diversity of opinions. There should also be more representatives from impacted neighborhoods, so we're addressing that. There should be more representatives from public housing communities. I actually am meeting with public housing today, and we're going to get a meeting next week with the residents' councils as much as we can to talk them through how would you like to do this process? What can we do to help support you? And then they were talking about why are endorsements needed for neighborhood nominations. So one of the things that we know is that this reparation is about Black Asheville. And the people who have traditionally been more like historically been impacted have been African Americans. And we have pockets of neighborhoods that were here more than 50 years ago that are some are no longer here, some are still intact and then struggling to survive. So that's why we're taking those nominations. Also, it's different when you serve on a board, when you just apply as yourself, than if you have the support of your neighborhood and your community. And so we're hoping that creates, and that's also a transparency for them. Who I nominate is who council will approve. And so they will help us to make sure that these people are accountable for attending the meetings. We hope that these folks that they nominate are definitely going back and being a conduit for communication. They want the process to be focused on listening, particularly to elders. I'm excited to say we met with the county last week, and we're going to partner with them doing this application process to start back on the listening tour. We're going to work with the library. One of the folks from the communications and public engagement at the county has done a lot of work with the library in listening to these stories, and we want to video them, and we want to go to the communities where these people live. So we're going to be working on that. Identify a community historian. I know of at least 3. So I've been reaching out to people to consider, applying as the impact area experts to be a part of the commission if they will consider that. We are definitely using QR codes. We're actually looking at those. So we have to check with planning, but we want to put out how you go down our street and you see that there's a public meeting coming and they put out those H-frame signs. We want to put those in strategic places so that people know they just have to, swipe the QR code, or we'll put the website on there or a phone number where they can call and know more about how to get access. Because people sometimes just have general questions, even if they don't apply for the commission. And then a short time frame for public comment. I'm not quite sure what that means, but we will take public comment between this time, and we will take public comment through all of the process until we have the final report to City Council. Yes. I'm not sure who.
Deborah, this is Kim. Or Brenda, were you meaning to present the slide? Should we be looking at slides? Right now we're on the first slide.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so if you press the present button, if you're intending for us to go through slides, I just was like, the timeline, I realized I hadn't given much information.
Are you seeing it now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I do apologize. I had no idea. The other one was moving for me, so maybe I've got too many. So I think I'm here. They want us to broaden the area from healthcare to health and wellness, which I don't see a problem with. We're going to be talking with our city county team tomorrow to just kind of finalize some stuff, creating a video of the overview of the process. So I'll be talking to our CAPE team and the CAPE team at the county, seeing about doing that so that we can keep that out there during the time that we are working on this. Because even when people apply and we set the commission, we want to make sure that people are continually understanding what the process is, and then make support resources available during the application and nomination submission process. And we're definitely doing that. We're meeting with all the communities. I mentioned before, we met with the legacy communities. We're going back around to meet with them again before the final selections are made, and they need any help with that. And then any persons that are applying as expert area folks for either the city or the county, we have 3 meetings already, information sessions already set up starting November 18th. We're going to look at doing the application sometime between the 15th and the 18th, they'll be out there. We will definitely put some information out on the 15th. And then on November 18th, we will have a meeting, December 1st and December 15th. So we'll have 3 information sessions virtual. And then we will meet with anybody that has questions, any organization that has questions of us. Basically, this is our process. Neighborhood groups are going to receive a package. They're going to determine their nominees. These groups will work through whatever process they would like to. We just know that whatever that final number is, they have to give us. We can't have one more than that. So they will submit to 1, 2, or 3 nominees for that. And then council will receive those right after December 22nd when it closes. The clerk's office has to do some work a couple of weeks for that, and you should get them around the 1st of January. Same thing for the city and for the county processes. And I'm not sure why this is loading slow, but it is loading slow. So anyway, I'm going to go on. I think it's not going to let me. Sorry about that. Here we go. So we're still on the trajectory. We are looking at some point next week, between the 15th and the 18th, getting the nomination packet out. We've had a little kink with Seamless Doc. So between Sarah, myself, IT, and Techquity, we're looking at what will be the best process for us, because we want to make sure that everything is electronic as well as in paper form. The nominations are still due on December 22nd. January, February timeframe will be review, interviews, and seating of the commission. And then once we finalize and seat the commissions, then the process to orient them will begin. And that is what I have. I think that's how I get rid of it. Sorry about that. I did not know I was not presenting. So thank you, Kim, for letting me know.
No worries. So because I wasn't able to see the whole presentation and it wasn't in our documents for today's meeting, could we just upload that to the boards and commissions packet?
Absolutely. And I do apologize.
No worries.
It's been that kind of, it ain't even been a week, but it's been that kind of day and a half. So I do apologize. Nothing out of the ordinary, generally things that community people say. You want to make sure that you're doing sufficient outreach. And between public input, on the city side, we have public input, we have neighborhood services, all of the techniques that we are using to get out to the community. Making the video, I believe on our side, the Cape person, our media specialist, Dan, should be available in about a week to start working on this. And the video, what we're doing does not have to be a person saying anything. We're just gonna put information out there so that people know what they need to do. So we're gonna get that out there. And on the county side, they have significant outreach in terms of like the markets in town, just different events. We're trying to tag on to stuff, not people coming to extra stuff. Because I don't know about you, it gets dark at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So older people do not want to come out and go across town to go to a meeting. So we're looking at I'm going to neighborhood meetings. I'm already talking to folks about, we'll have Stumptown meeting on Monday. Jeannie Bell, who Antoinette just mentioned previously, is hosting the Southside Community Meeting. Great news, they're doing community planning. I was at their meeting 2 weeks ago, went very well. We've identified the groups that work in Southside. So they're really excited about just having a representative from those groups be a part of like the process of giving us 2 nominations for Southside. So we've got meetings there going on. Yes, ma'am.
So in the presentation, you mentioned something about how you have reached out to particular folks in whatever expert field. I'm curious what feedback you've gotten. Does there seem to be an interest once you actually ask people to play a role? And then secondly, before I forget, you also mentioned that you were going to meet with the Housing Authority later today. Once we're offline, can you let me know when that is, since I'm the liaison, and if my schedule permits, I wouldn't mind tagging along. But yeah, please.
I'm sorry, I'm talking and the mic is off. Sure, I'll send that to you. We were reaching out to people initially because, myself, I was helping Deborah Clark-Jones, Tequity, with reaching out to people because we needed local facilitators. We wanted people in our community who are known for education, for economic development. There was some hesitancy because I think people don't know what I think it's generally, people don't know what they're going to be expected to do. Although she was very thorough and we try to tell people how much time they're going to spend being on boards and commissions. And you really can't tell people what that's going to look like, but nothing negative. And the people that Dwight Mullen was going to be a facilitator. I'll give you an example. He talked with Deborah Clark-Jones of Tequity, and she was like, we are wasting him being a facilitator. He needs to be a commission member. So he will be applying to the city to be a commission member, I believe, in the area of education. And so, we're just kind of I haven't heard anything negative. Now, if there has been, I haven't heard it. And then I think people are honored to be asked because I don't think they thought about it, that way. And then some of the people we asked are just too busy. One person just took a new job. They just don't have the time.
And then my other question is, and we discussed this previously, how you mentioned that areas used to be, historically Black neighborhoods, I'm thinking of where my dad grew up, that street is literally not there anymore. Have we figured out a way to include folks who may have been harmed by urban renewal or even their descendants, but because of gentrification or the expense living in the city, have we figured out a way that they can be included? What if they don't live in Buncombe County?
Right, I got you. So one of the things I found amazing about living in Asheville, and I just want to lift up that although most of us as African Americans have been impacted by urban renewal at some point, even in my own neighborhood growing up, we also received a rich history from our parents and our grandparents and their parents about what the past was. I called Mr. Ben Oliphant, who lives in the heart of Chestnut Hills, and I spent an hour talking to he and his wife. And, there was no big tension in his voice. He just gave me a history lesson. So part of that is the neighborhoods that are historically impacted, even though, you got people that live in Shiloh, they grew up in Stomptown. Folks that grew up in Stomptown moved to East End. And then they know all the people who moved away. Like if you go to Stevens Lee alumni, they know my mom and dad knew where every one of their classmates were. I couldn't even tell you what my classmates are. But we're going to really, those oral histories, encouraging people to apply for the commission, making sure that information gets out to people, any videos that we have. One of the things we want to do is highlight people giving information about their communities. I actually got a call yesterday from a gentleman whose mom was written about in The Color of Asheville. He lives in Chicago. He's 65, and he just ran across the article. And so I asked him, would he be willing to give us more information about his mom and her living here? And he said, cool. So we're going to do word of mouth. We're going to do videos. We're going to do going to neighborhoods. We're going to be talking to people through groups and events. So this is, it's a lot of hard work, but it's great work because I love hearing about histories. And I know your dad has passed away, but he has children, he has family members, he has people who can speak for him. And don't forget, we've had a lot of people, Miss Andrea Clark, Sasha Mitchell, a bunch of people who have done some amazing work. And then the work that's been put in the North Carolina room, I forgot the new librarian's name, but they're all on point to help work with us. And then we have our county partner who will be working with us as well. And I hope that helps. And if you have other ideas or something we didn't think about, or you meet somebody and you're not quite sure we've contacted them, please let us know.
Okay, will do. I love what you're doing so far.
Well, thank you. We're We're working at it. I'm excited about it because it's an opportunity. And, you know, sometimes I said this many years ago, Elder Hayes was on a diversity committee at Mission. I mean, it must have been 15 years ago. And I never forget telling the Mission people, because I mean, you know, sometimes you get in a room and people start talking and they get upset. I'm like, they're emotional. This happened to them.
Yeah.
It happened to their family. And there's not been a moment when somebody said, Kim, what happened to you? Like, what was your life like growing up? And I know it was hard for my dad, but my dad and my uncle sit around and they talk about, you know, sharecropping and all the kind of stuff. And I never hear the bad stuff. I just hear so-and-so was lazy. We caught him doing this, or, you know, there's this guy and we were doing da-da-da-da-da. And my dad's one of them relationship people in the community. He's a deacon in the church. I mean, everybody knows him. He's well respected, but they all know each other and they tell those stories. And those are stories that I will live with, you know. And, you know, I'm proud to say my grandmother couldn't read. My grandmother went to church and she read her Bible as best she could, and she raised 10 children. And so I got a good legacy, and that's what I want people to see. But I also want people to tell what did happen to you. We went to an Elon Law symposium. An Antoinette participated. It was amazing. And we're going to call some of those folks as subject matter experts because they didn't record it, unfortunately. It's a student project thing. They'll have more materials out in February. But one of the things that we are doing locally is because we know the people locally who were impacted. Then when the federal government, you know, decides to do something by HR 40, then we'll know the people who were impacted in our region in specific. So, and this is an ongoing process. I want people to hear that. This is not one and done. We're going to do this. It's over when we give you the final report. Then the work really begins. How are we going to, you know, look at those recommendations and what are we going to do about those recommendations?
And in case you're wondering, or if you'd like to look, I know my dad did hours of recording for that UNC Asheville.
That's great.
Project.
Yeah, we're going to be partnering with UNC Asheville. A lot of folks. It's going to be awesome. Thank God for digital. So, can I answer any other questions? I really appreciate this time to come and update all of you. And this is a partnership. This is a collaboration. We're a team. And so if you have any comments, suggestions, anything, we're here to listen.
Brenda, this feels really good. And thank you for even giving your personal history here. I think people need to hear that connection, that we're all connected to this piece of history. And thank you for your report as well, because what you reported back from the surveys, it's a lot of the primary concerns that people have. And they have the right to have concerns about this process because so many broken promises have been made over the years. Yeah. So, but I do have a suggestion because this is kind of overlapping Thanksgiving break. There are going to be a lot of community Thanksgiving gatherings. I know the Eddington Center is having a large one. It's not in person this year. I think they're going to do maybe a pickup, but they feed people beyond the Southside community. I don't know how many meals they're preparing, but maybe we can prepare an effort then, and then see what other community organized events they're having around Thanksgiving, because we normally try to feed the entire community or have some type of festivity where everybody can be involved. So I'll keep my ears out. Keep my ears open and just kind of reach out to see what's going on around there. Maybe churches who are reaching out to families during the holidays, but I know the Southside community, which you kind of reported that they're doing a thorough outreach there, but I know that they're doing something around Thanksgiving, probably the day before, but I'll give you the exact date and time. But it sounds good and it feels very good. This is all about the healing process, even you reporting to us, reporting back to us, and making a plan around what you've heard. That feels good.
Right. And I did not mention the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance. I've been working with them. Actually, Sekou Coleman, who kind of leads Southside Rising with the Southside community, he listed all the 13 churches in Southside because they said there were 13. I was like, where? And so I'm getting ready to do a campaign because I think outreach is good and we want to go to neighborhoods. But if this is not something you do every day, you kind of need some support to figure out, so when's the best time to bring stuff to your congregation, right? We don't want them to have to drive and take anything. But 3 of the major churches in town gave out the survey and we picked those up. And so that was very helpful. So we want to make sure that that continues to happen. So thank you so much.
And while I'm just thinking about it, I know the YMI is doing a Friendsgiving. I want to say it's the 22nd, but I can get back to you with that date.
I get their newsletter, so I'll touch base with Duana, definitely.
And I think the Kappas are doing something tomorrow night at Grind, so.
All right, then holler at me. But this will be good. We're going to launch everything next week. I'm going to try to look through the plan today and in the morning. We're working with our city team, and I just expect good things. And when we don't get good things, how about we make it better? So thank you very much.
This is Kim. I have one question, and I just want to lift this up from community members who've expressed this concern. I think I heard it mentioned, like addressed a little bit in the presentation, but a concern that because the harm was for urban renewal and redlining was participated in by the government, there may be a lack of trust that the city of Asheville is the one doing this outreach. So there are grassroots efforts to do a Walk the Walk campaign to reach out to every voice. What effort are we making to ensure that that effort is recognized and included in this process?
And you're asking, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. So I know Walk the Walk. I am a recipient of the information from the Racial Justice Coalition and a bunch of others. So I just want to make sure I understand, because we do want to include all voices.
Right. So because I hear the request for every Black voice to be heard, I just was curious about if there's not a city-led effort, but a community-led effort, how will we be including that information and that feedback and that effort?
Oh, okay, I understand. So definitely have them to provide us any information. We will note where we got the information from, and we would appreciate that. Because we can't government, I understand that people don't trust government, but government is who provides your services, has the resources to kind of do this. That doesn't mean that government's the only person. That's why we're increasing neighborhood representation, where you as a council will be screening these experts, so to speak, in the impact areas. And the Tequity company is a project manager. We don't give people information that we want them to tell you. We're giving them enough resources, because you got to realize reparations is a legal matter. So you've got to have the experts and the resource and the real information to combine with what actually happened in Asheville and how was I impacted? And do we think that's a remedy that's going to help? You'll have half communities say one thing, half another. So definitely all groups. I actually spoke with the RJC coordinator, Mr. Rob Thomas, a couple of weeks ago, told him definitely, we want to work with you. So let us know how we can connect on a regular basis. He has met with Tequity, the YMI director, and Ms. Cowles, who works with the Zedek Foundation, and a couple of others have met with her, and she will continue to meet with them. And we want to identify all these groups, because beyond reparations and everything we're doing with outreach, why not use this for everything else we do? But why are we going to let this information drop? And then when we have another outreach, this is a way to continue to build that trust, but build connection. To me, it's about connection. If I don't know, like Shanika can tell you, everybody can tell you, when I meet you and you tell me you're doing X, I'm like, can I get your name? Can I get your cell phone number? Can I get your email? And I'll text you. We'll put you in our system. I'm actually thinking about a way on our project page and other places to have people, if you want to get information about reparations, put your information in there. So just trying to figure out what looks okay to people, what feels good to people. And like I said, our legacy communities beyond, and the ones that have not been formed, they're getting excited about it because they realize we're going to be listening to them. And so thank you so much for lifting that up. And as you have anything, like I said, just make sure that I know if you don't know if this group is involved, it's okay to ask. I definitely can't do it all and think through it all. So I do.
I'm sorry, Brenda, I love hearing that in my my thing is, I'm going to say my thing is that all of these groups, these grassroots organizations who are out spreading information about reparations and our process, I want to know how aligned we are and what's that level of cooperation, so that when we're going out and touching the lives of people and asking them for information, asking them for feedback, I want to know that it's a concerted effort. And we're all one mind and sharing information so that we can really vet the information, the feedback we get back properly.
Exactly. And I will say we will be in the Urban News in November. We did a major interview with Tequity and the Urban News. So that should be coming out sometime after mid-November. So we're really excited. And I'm not sure if you know, but we have an MOU doing some work with WRES, start looking for radio spots, other things of that nature. So we're going to reach people as many ways as we can. If there's something we haven't thought about, let me know.
And I just want to add a little bit around the discussion of how was harm caused by the government, and the government doesn't necessarily might not be the best position. So it's interesting sitting on this side of the table, because still in my mind, I am of the community. Mm-hmm. So when I am thinking about reparations, I'm thinking about my family, my friends, my community. And so I think I'll just take the opportunity in this public forum to say that I'm not thinking of myself as the government. I'm thinking of myself, frankly, as one who was harmed, and what it would mean if certain actions were taken, what it would mean to my dad, my grandmother, my great-grandparents. So really, it's like we're purposely seeking to help ourselves. So it's not so much the government, I feel like we have an opportunity to take advantage of the position we hold, and is historic in that nature. And that's why I feel like this is exactly the time. And quite frankly, give us a call. If you have questions, email us. It doesn't have to go through the bureaucracy. I can see you at church on Sunday and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's such an awkward position to be in, being in a seat of, a governmental seat, but also having your feet deep in a lot of the issues and being able to talk about the issues. So it's just an awkward place to be in, but it can be a blessing, because people should come and be open to talk to us about how to move this thing forward. Communication is always a key, and I see that communication has been very, very helpful in this process. Thank you, Brenda, for all you've done. If there are any more comments from the committee, we'll take them now concerning reparations and our process. Okay, if not, we'll just move on.
Have a great morning.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you so much. And congratulations again.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
All right. Last, under informal business, we have a notice that our December boards and commissions meeting will be canceled due to the holiday. Our next meeting will be January 11, 2022. That's the last for business. Are there any people in the speaker queue for comment?
Nope, no callers on the line.
All right, that's surprising. If there are no more comments from the committee or staff, we'll adjourn the meeting. See y'all later. Bye.